I wasn't alone in the forest that night. I know that now, but back then I thought everything I felt was just exhaustion playing tricks on my mind. 3 friends and I had gone camping in Oregon's Willamette National Forest. The place is infamous for disappearances. Rangers don't even mark certain areas on the map. But we were young and far too arrogant to take the stories seriously. We were sitting around the fire on the first night when a long, muffled whistle echoed from deep within the trees. It sounded like someone was calling to us. At first, we assumed it was an animal, until the whistle repeated with the exact rhythm and breath of a human. The whistling matched our conversation. When we stopped talking, it stopped. When we spoke again, it continued. As the night went on, the sound crept closer and closer, until suddenly it stopped altogether. The silence that followed was so thick that even the crackling of the fire began to bother me. Around 2 a.m., I was lying in my tent trying to sleep when I heard someone whisper my name from outside. Tyler, Tyler. It wasn't my friend's voice. It sounded distorted, as if something was trying, poorly, to imitate a human tone. Then came a soft tick, then a slow, deliberate footstep, and finally, a breath, a long, shaky breath that sent panic flooding through me. I gathered what little courage I had, unzipped the tent slowly, and pointed my flashlight into the darkness. I didn't see anything at first. I was just about to zip the tent shut again when I looked up. And there, between the trees, a figure leaned forward, watching me. I froze instantly. I kept trying to understand what I was looking at, but it had no eyes. When the light hit it, it didn't pull back. It simply tilted its head from side to side, as if listening to me breathe. Then it took one step toward me and released the same whistle we'd been hearing all night. I screamed. My friends jumped out of their tents and ran over, but by the time they arrived, the forest was empty, pitch black, silent. I told them what I had seen, but they didn't believe me. We went back to our tents, but I couldn't close my eyes. I kept replaying it in my mind. No animal could move that quietly. No human could disappear that fast. None of it made sense. The next morning, we found a strange imprint in the dirt facing our camp. It wasn't a footprint. It looked like someone had knelt down and pressed both hands into the ground, except the fingers were far longer than they should have been. When we told the ranger, he just said, "In this forest, don't assume any sound you hear at night is real. Some of them only want to trick you into responding." We packed up and left that same day. But sometimes when the wind picks up at night, I still hear that whistle, and it feels like it's still calling for me. Camping on the Appalachian Trail was the worst mistake of my life. I know that now. Because out there, it's not just nature you have to worry about. It's the things that don't belong in nature. While I was hiking, the sky suddenly darkened. I stepped off the trail a bit and set up camp in what looked like a safer spot. As I was pitching my tent, I heard a scream echoing from far away. A woman's scream. But there was something wrong with it. It was one impossibly long scream, all in a single breath. Just as I tried to figure out what I heard, a man approached me, nervous,
covered in dirt. You heard it, didn't you? That same sound echoes all night. I don't know what it is, but don't answer it. Don't say a single word back to it." His warning made no sense. Someone could have needed help. But when night came, I understood exactly what he meant. At around 1:45 a.m., I heard the sound again. Only this time, it came from right beside my tent. It wasn't exactly a scream anymore, more like a woman taking long, labored breaths as if she were in pain. The breathing stopped. Then a shaky voice followed. "Help me. Please. Is anyone there?" The tone was correct. The pitch was right, but there was no emotion. People who are scared can't control their voice. It shakes. This voice was flat, steady, like a recording being played too perfectly. Despite the man's warning, I whispered, "Is anyone there?" Immediately, something walked beside my tent. But it wasn't the woman whose voice I heard. The footsteps were strange, uneven, as if whoever or whatever it was didn't really know how to walk. Then it repeated my words. "Is anyone there?" Same words, same tone, same breath. Hearing my own voice echoed back at me, I froze completely. It shouldn't have been possible. I opened the tent just enough to look out, and I saw a silhouette. Tall, unnaturally tall, but with shoulders that slumped low. Its head was tilted slightly to the side, like it was trying to listen to me. Then I heard a clicking sound from beneath its jaw. A sharp crack, like a bone shifting into a place it didn't belong. Its skull wasn't built to speak. I knew that instantly. I abandoned my tent and ran. All night I sprinted through the forest, and I could hear it behind me, sometimes far away, sometimes impossibly close, matching my footsteps exactly. I stepped, it stepped. I stopped, it stopped. When the rangers found me the next morning, I was pale and shaking. "We found tracks," they said. "Not human. But whatever it was, it tried to walk like one." They still haven't told me what they think it was. But sometimes, when the Appalachian winds pick up at night, I hear my own voice calling out from the trees, and that voice is never mine. I will never forget the night at Cedar Lake. It still crawls into my dreams, and it still wakes me in the middle of the night. Camping beside Minnesota's frozen lakes is unsettling enough on its own, but what happened that night defies any kind of logic. 3 friends and I had set up a campfire by the water. The lake was so still and silent that the sky looked like it was floating on its surface. Sometime after midnight, we heard movement in the water, slow footsteps, as if someone were walking through it. But the lake was far too shallow for that. It barely reached the knees. When we pointed our lights toward the sound, something was crouched right at the shoreline, shaped like a person, but not a person. Its back was hunched, and its skin looked gray, almost like wet moss. When it lifted its head, its eyes didn't reflect the light at all. They were completely black. We froze, and then the thing started to laugh. But the laugh wasn't human. It was thick, muffled, like it was bubbling up from underwater. Then it slowly rose to its full height, nearly 2 meters tall. As it stepped toward the shore, my friend Chris screamed. The creature repeated his scream back to us. Same pitch, same tone. Not an echo, but a perfect copy. It was mimicking us. We ran. When I glanced back, I saw the creature climbing out of the lake, screaming again, but this time it used our voices. As we sprinted through the woods, the sounds multiplied. Chris's voice, my voice, our other friend's voice. All distorted, all warped, like they were drowning under the surface of the lake. It didn't follow us once we reached the trees, but we didn't stop running until sunrise. When we returned to the campsite the next morning, there was nothing. Not a footprint, not a ripple, except at the shoreline. There we found 3 sets of footprints, our own footprints, but they weren't side by side or in any normal pattern. They were twisted, misaligned, overlapping in the wrong directions, as if something had tried to copy our steps, but didn't understand how people walked. The locals around Cedar Lake don't talk about these things. They only give one short warning. At night, the water listens. If you speak, it speaks back.